If you've been wondering why Bitcoin has been so stable, so steady, and why it continues to inch higher and higher and higher, it's because everyone wants a piece of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is being gobbled up by everyone. And I'm not just talking about retail investors or holders that are dollar cost averaging. And I'm not even talking about whales or hedge funds that's buying Bitcoin as a speculative play. No, I'm talking about the mega corporations that are buying up every single Bitcoin out there. They're buying up hundreds of millions to billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. And they're doing this because they're treating Bitcoin as a reserve currency, as a hedge against what's going around the world. So let's discuss the repercussions of this, why this is happening, and there's a few other articles I want to talk about. Let's get started. So today, Bitcoin is at 11,341. A few days ago, over the weekend, it went as high as 11,700. So it's coming up and down, but overall, it's inching higher. You can see ever since 99.40, it's been inching higher, higher, and higher. But this is on a smaller time scale. So if you zoom out, you'll notice that, yeah, it has been inching higher and higher and higher and higher since its recent bottom around 3,800. So it continues to go higher and higher. There's been multiple periods where Bitcoin just seems to be stagnant, just goes sideways, and then boom, it breaks out of it and makes a next leg up. And that's what it's looking like right now. But why is this happening? Why is Bitcoin so strong right now? Why is it so stagnant? Where's the volatility? What happened to the 1,000, 2,000 point drops? What happened to the naysayers or the bears that say they're going to drive Bitcoin back down to 6,000 or even below 10,000? Why is it not happening? Well, the reason being, it's being gobbled up. Every single Bitcoin that the miners can produce right now is being gobbled up, and it goes beyond that because we know just a single company like Grayscale, they are buying twice as much Bitcoins than the amount that's being mined right now. That's how much they're buying, and they're not alone. So I found this article which talks about publicly traded company, mega corporations that are now buying Bitcoin by the truckload or boatload or the ledger load, however you define it. But take a look at this. I talked about Grayscale already. They hold nearly 450,000 Bitcoins. 450,000 Bitcoin, right? And then you have some smaller companies like CoinShare, MicroStrategy, which is a newcomer in this space with almost 40,000 Bitcoin. Galaxy Digital, which is owned by Mike Novogratz, about 16,000, 17,000. And then you go on and on and on. And plus Square, which is also a company that led by Jack Dorsey, they also got into Bitcoin recently, right? Gobbled up about $50 million worth of Bitcoin. So if you look at these, Grayscale is definitely the yellow sun in this. But if you look at these 13 companies, this adds up to about $7 billion worth of Bitcoin at current prices, right? Obviously, if Bitcoin goes up much higher, these companies are going to benefit. But why did these companies buy up Bitcoin? They're not really buying it up as a speculative play. They're buying it up, well, maybe some are, like MicroStrategy, I know they are, and same thing with Grayscale. But a lot of these other companies are now buying Bitcoin as a reserve, as a reserve asset. Basically, rather than buying, say, something like gold, they're buying Bitcoin because they know the potential is enormous. But they're also seeing the real potential of Bitcoin, not from a growth perspective, but as a hedge against everything else, because that narrative is coming to light. Right now, a lot of people are fearing what's going on with fiat, the endless printing, with basically what's going on around the world, right? The economic factors that's at play, a lot of unknowns, whether there's going to be real inflation or hyperinflation, whether or not there's the devaluation of fiat, whether or not banks and governments might collapse altogether, right? There's just a lot of unknowns at this point. And people are seeing that or I should say companies are seeing, that Bitcoin is a currency that hedges against all that. There's no one controlling it. It's a non-sovereign digital currency, right? With basically no fears of inflation. No one controls it. No one can print more of it. And a lot of these big companies are now buying Bitcoin as a hedge against what's going on. And plus, they're also probably seeing the potential of Bitcoin, the growth potential, because over the last 10 years, nothing has come close in terms of outperforming Bitcoin. So that definitely comes into play. But man, this is a big turn of events. 2017, you didn't really see this. 2018, you didn't really see this. Grayscale was just getting started, but within the last 3 years, 18, 19, 20, as we move on to 2021, more and more corporations, I'm not even talking about just investors or whales, or even hedge funds, but we know hedge funds are also getting involved. Man, we're seeing some very big entities get involved with Bitcoin. They're gobbling it up. And I think this is the biggest reason why Bitcoin has been so stable and stagnant, but continues to inch higher because of this. Of course, we have other factors that came to play this year. For example, the halving event, which only comes once every 4 years. So the number of Bitcoin being released is half as many before. Of course, that plays into it. But ultimately, what drives Bitcoin up in terms of price is the buyers. And these 13 companies aren't going to be the last, because just a few hours ago, another company called Stoneridge, which is, they are an asset management company, they just invested in Bitcoin, $115 million worth. So these companies are not investing like $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, $10 million. No, they're investing like hundreds of millions at a time. 115 million Bitcoin, approximately 10,000 Bitcoin. That is a lot. And they're doing for the same reason, because the growth potential, and also as an asset, like a reserve asset, in case something really disastrous happens. So this is continuing forward. Just last week, I covered about Square getting involved, and weeks before I covered MicroStrategy, and I said, you know what? This is going to be a new thing now, right? Actually, when the companies declare they're buying Bitcoin, they actually go up. Their stocks go up. So I think this is going to be a continuing trend. You're going to start hearing a lot more companies that is going to be purchasing Bitcoin for the same reason. So what's the moral to this? Well, if you're not gobbling up Bitcoins like all these other people are, you are falling behind. I know a lot of you guys have been following me for a while. You've been dollar cost averaging, so have I. That's the smart game, is to play the long game, to accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can, because now you're seeing it. The writing's on the wall. Everyone is getting involved with Bitcoin. In 2017, it seemed like everyone was getting involved. 2018, it seemed like everyone getting involved. Now is a different game. Now you're having publicly traded companies coming out saying they're buying Bitcoin. They're not ashamed of it. They're proud of it. And this is going to start a domino effect. You're going to hear a lot more companies getting involved buying Bitcoin, and the supply is going to decrease dramatically. And look at this. Coinbase now holds over $11 billion of Bitcoin in cold storage. Again, this belongs to holders, right? People that don't plan on selling. So if you look at the $7 billion held by the corporations and $11 billion, that's $18 billion just sitting there, right? This is all leading to one thing, and it's coming. All right, two other news I want to talk about. Spain, unfortunately, if you're watching me from Spain or you live in Spain, this is kind of a bummer. So there's a new bill that was just approved. This is basically for tax reasons, okay? Like I said, it's always for taxes. Governments do things for taxes. They want to collect revenue. This is why I don't think they'll ever try to ban Bitcoin, because they rather just tax people that have it. But this new bill is basically declaring that all cryptocurrency owners have to disclose fully what their crypto holdings are for tax purposes, so they can actually tax you. I don't know if if this changes things, but you know, it is a bummer, right? I don't think Spain is going to be the last country to do this. Of course, in the U.S., they don't force you to disclose, but the IRS does want to know want to know if you have crypto profits. So it may lead there, but yeah, unfortunately, this is kind of a bummer. And lastly, Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, he's threatening to relocate Ripple overseas due to unfavorable U.S. regulation. Basically, he's confused. He's confused because he's looking at what's going on in the U.S. and every single, I guess, regulatory body or entity is declaring crypto as something else. To quote, the Department of Justice report lists 8 separate U.S. regulatory bodies, each with a different view. Crypto is a property, crypto is a commodity, crypto is a virtual currency, crypto is security, etc. Regulation shouldn't be a guessing game. So he's concerned, right, that they can't really plan for the future or develop Ripple or XRP because of all the uncertainty. And he has a point there. The U.S. is falling behind. Other countries like China, they have their ducks in a row. They plan on coming out full-blown with the digital yuan, and they want to convert everything to digital, while the U.S. is still debating whether or not Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP is a security or a commodity or whatever. So Brad has the point here. I don't know if that's going to change things. Even threatening to leave, I don't think anyone cares if Ripple leaves. It's not like they're Microsoft or Apple threatening to leave the US. That's a different story, but I do think he has a point there. I do think so. That's it for today's crypto update. Everyone wants a piece of Bitcoin. Everyone is gobbling up Bitcoin. Are you? Leave your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for my next video. Bye-bye.